Imagine we wanted to describe a point in space. We could, if we were talking to somebody and we were describing where something was, if we had a common frame of reference, we could talk about something being over there or over here, next to the door, underneath the table, something like that. But we need that common reference point to be able to do it. In more general terms, we could think about maps. I imagine we've all looked at a map at some point and recognise that there is a way to use the map to describe different positions. We can talk about directions, north, east, south, west, that kind of thing. We can talk about distance on a map, being within a certain distance of a landmark, for example. And we can also use grid references, map grid references, so that we can give a specific chunk of the map that we want to look at. It would be helpful, however, to have a standard way of describing any sort of location. We only need to do this for 2D space. It is possible to do this for 3D space, but we don't need to do it. To describe positions in 2D space, we use a grid that looks like this. Effectively, two number lines crossing, one moving horizontally across the page and one moving vertically up and down the page. Two number lines. These happen to run from -9 through to 9. They could run from any number to any other number. They just happen to be that size for this particular grid. In the middle we have a crossing point. Our crossing point in the middle is 0. 0 on the horizontal number line, 0 on the vertical number line. Now, to use these number lines to describe location, to describe particular points in space, we can use the numbers on the horizontal and the numbers on the vertical to describe particular locations. As long as we always do the same thing, as long as we always set things up exactly the same so that everybody is using the same reference system, we can describe any point on this grid using the two numbers. We can talk about how far across we are on the horizontal number line and how far up and down we are on the vertical number line. And as long as we do exactly the same thing in the same order so that everybody is doing the same, we can use this grid to describe points. What we do is we set up something called coordinates. And coordinates are our way of describing where we are. So that I could point to anywhere on this grid and give you a coordinate to describe my position. The two lines, the two number lines that cross, are called axes. One axis, two or more axes. The across axis is the x-axis. And that tells you how far left and right you are. The vertical one is the y-axis, and that tells you how far up and down you are. What we do to give our position, to give our coordinate, we first of all look on the across axis, the x-axis, and we list the number that we are at on there. And then we look vertically up and down, and we list the number that we are at on the y-axis. We then write them for our coordinate in a very particular way. Any coordinate is given as the number that we are at on the x-axis, and then the number that we are at on the y-axis, that's the vertical one. We put a comma between them, and then we enclose them in brackets. So our x number, our first number, is where we are along here. Our second number, our y number, is where we are here. And then we enclose them in a pair of brackets, put a comma in the middle, just because that's how we write the coordinate, just so that we know it is not just a pair of numbers, but it is a coordinate. It is a way of describing a point in space. So just to make that super clear, we're looking across first of all, and then we're looking up and down. Across first of all, and then up and down. For example, If I were to pick out this point here, I would first of all look how far across I am. We're going across. On the across number line, the x number line, I'm at 3. So my x number is 3. And then I look up, and I notice that on the vertical number line, the y number line, I am at 2. So my y number is 2. Put a comma in the middle and then close them in a bracket. And I'm at the point 3, 2, or 3, 2. If I picked this point here, say, then first of all I look at the horizontal number line, the x-axis, and I see where I'm at here. I am at -2. So there's my x number, my -2. I look where I am on the y-axis, that's up and down here, that's here at -1. So my y number is -1. Comma between them and close them in a bracket, and I'm at the point -2, -1, or -2, -1. If I went here, for example, I look where I am on the x. Well, on the x, I'm actually here in the middle. I'm at 0. So my x number is 0. I've not gone anywhere across. On the vertical, I'm at 4. So 0, 4. This one here, for example, I'm at 8 across. I've not gone up the vertical one at all, so I'm at 0, 8, 0, and close them in the brackets. As long as we always remember that the first number is on the x-axis, the x number is the moving across, left to right, and the second number, the y number, is the moving up and down on the vertical axis. We have a system of describing any points in space wherever we happen to be looking.